Metal Slug 3, actually the fourth game released in the Metal Slug series, coming in a year after Metal Slug X, is a high point in the series, in my opinion. The level environments are much more varied and interesting than the previous games, and the game introduces new enemies that break from the standard fascist soldier. It shares the same perfected core run-and-gun gameplay as the previous games, but it's refined to near perfection here. In terms of visuals, Metal Slug 3 has some of the best 2D sprite work I've ever seen in an arcade game. At a time when 3D was the name of the game in the console space, SNK was bold enough to say, "Y'all have fun, we'll be over here making the most impressive sprites you've ever seen." The series had already established a reputation for detailed and smooth character animation, but Metal Slug 3 ups the ante. Massive bosses, branching level routes, underwater segments, and alien-infested environments all give the game a variety that puts the experience a cut above the early games. Animation remains fluid, with soldiers reacting to damage in environments, packed with detail and explosive destruction effects. In fairness, though, the density of the sprites is a bit of a double-edged sword. Like Metal Slug 2, Metal Slug 3 often fills the screen with enemies, explosions, and projectiles. The difference is that Metal Slug 3 generally manages this chaos much better and much more gracefully. Whereas Metal Slug 2's busy battlefields frequently overwhelm the hardware and cause major slowdown, Metal Slug 3 feels like it was better optimized, with slowdown being occasional rather than constant. Earlier games had already demonstrated the Neo Geo's limits, and Metal Slug 3 feels like a more disciplined attempt to color inside the lines, so to speak, while also packing in as much detail as possible. Compared to the original Metal Slug, which emphasized clean readability and smoother pacing, Metal Slug 3 prioritizes a grand scale and visual hedonism. The result is one of the most visually impressive games not only in the Metal Slug series, but on the Neo Geo system as a whole. Sound design has always been another of Metal Slug's strengths, and that remains true here. Metal Slug 3 retains the punchy weapon effects, exaggerated explosions, and iconic voice samples that give the series so much personality. Gunfire has a satisfying, meaty pew, while enemy screams and environmental sounds reinforce the feeling of battlefield chaos. The audio mix remains clear even when the screen is crowded, which is impressive given the number of simultaneous effects, with neither sound effects nor music ever being drowned out by the other. Performance is where Metal Slug 3's place within the series gets interesting. All Metal Slug games exhibit some degree of slowdown, due to how the Neo Geo struggles with that many sprites and on-screen effects at once. Even Metal Slug X had a little bit of slowdown here and there. The original Metal Slug generally runs the most smoothly, with occasional dips during heavy action, but rarely anything disruptive. But the fact that it's got a relatively restrained enemy count helps it maintain that stable pace. Metal Slug 2, on the other hand, is truly abysmal from a performance standpoint, although some do prefer its slowdown to give more time to see and analyze the battlefield. Metal Slug 3 falls between those extremes. Slowdown is still present, and on occasion it can get pretty bad, especially during large boss encounters or co-op play, but it's a lot less constant and much less severe than in Metal Slug 2. Some of the slowdown appears to just be an accepted part of the design. Faithful ports of Metal Slug 3, even on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita, usually retain these dips because they were present in the original arcade version. Metal Slug 3 is exactly what you want a sequel to be. It takes what made the previous games great and makes it better, and it takes what held the previous games back and tries to smooth it out. It's not perfect, but it has the crowded and busy battlefields of Metal Slug 2 with the relatively smooth performance of the original Metal Slug. It also provides players with a solid variety of enemies and battlefield environments. I always have a hard time picking which Metal Slug game is my favorite, but Metal Slug 3 is a very strong contender. It is, in my view, essentially a perfect arcade game. My rating for Metal Slug 3 on Neo Geo, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Vita, Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Wii, Switch, Android, iOS, Linux, macOS, and Windows is an S.